The Bmore Football Podcast is brought to you by Rice Law.
Welcome inside another edition, the Bmore Football Podcast. I'm Jerry Coleman. I had to check the notes. He's the Baltimore Sun's longtime columnist, Mike Preston. You can follow us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or even on YouTube, all at the same place, Bmore Sports Pod. That's Bmore Sports Pod. Mike has it bookmarked. You can also watch us at BaltimoreSun.com. Now, in this episode, Presto, we'll recap the Ravens' dominating win against those lowly Browns. Although it was far from perfect, as Mike will detail during his report card segment. We'll also look at how the AFC North fared. Not so well in Cincinnati. And Hall of Famer Jonathan Ogden will drop by. The first ever draft pick is our first ever guest. And we'll look ahead to Monday Night Football with the Lions coming to town. But, Mike, we will begin, of course, with For the Birds. It's sponsored by Rice Law. Hey, Baltimore football fans, if you've been hurt in a car accident, don't go at it alone. The lawyers at Rice Law know how to fight for the compensation you deserve. Protect yourself, protect your family, and remember, best advice, call Rice. Learn more at ricelawmd.com. All right, Mike, the Ravens, after a lackluster first half, turned on the gas in the second half after that Buffalo collapse. There was no collapse in the fourth quarter. They didn't take their foot off the gas pedal, it seemed like, during the second half. But they did it against a woeful Browns team and a 40-year-old quarterback. So it couldn't have been scripted much better, but what did you make of the outcome?
You really can't tell about this team yet. They lose to Buffalo with the stunning comeback, and then they come back and they play the woeful Cleveland Browns. And when I use that description, I'm talking about their offense, because their defense could play. That's a good defense, but their offense was pretty pathetic. And the Ravens, again, as you just mentioned, they did play poorly in the first half, but they got it together in the second. They used 2 turnovers and then a block punt, which is another turnover, to score these touchdowns, and they walk away with a big win. But don't get misled by the score. They did not blow this team out. They beat them, and they were opportunistic, but they didn't blow them out. So we'll see what happens, because Detroit comes to town Monday night. That's a better game. That's a better matchup, and that's what you want to see. That's who you want to play at this point right now. You played the Bills, very good. You play the sorry Browns, and now you get to play Detroit.
That's the game. Yeah. And That's why the Lions game is in prime time and the Browns are played at 1:00 on a Sunday. But as you wrote in the Baltimore Sun, the identity, I guess, the Ravens are still searching for their identity. You were talking about they don't know who they really are just yet. Is that what you were getting at?
Well, we know they're a good team. I mean, and we've already talked about that before, about the roster and how it's the best roster in team history. But where does that translate, and how does it translate onto the field? We don't know. I mean, we're still looking at the secondary, and, after watching them play against Joe Flacco and the Browns, are they really that good, or are the Browns really that bad? You look at their running game. When Derrick Henry had 23 yards rushing in that game, 11 carries, 23 yards. They can't survive like that. And again, let's give the Browns credit, because they did a nice job the week before against the Bengals, but we're still kind of iffy. Like, where are they? And remember, folks, it's a long season. 2 games down, 15 more to go. It's a long season. So we'll let it go at that, but just watch and develop and see what happens.
And again, the report card comes later in the podcast, but let's talk about some of the key players in this game against the Browns. Lamar Jackson, after a slow start, really got it going in that second half with 3 TD passes, had a 155.6 passer rating in the second half. The offense clearly ran through him. He didn't run too much, though. I don't know what kind of shape he was in with the IV and all that, but what did you make of the game that he had, especially where they were able to score on a short field thanks to a block punt early on?
Well, let's talk about the IVs. That's been going on since 2000. Oh, I remember some of the guys on that Super Bowl winning team. They used to have a little IV party over at their homes, and they would come over, and that's how they got hydrated. There's nothing illegal. There's nothing bad about it. That happens. That's part of the game. As for Lamar, he did a nice job as far as the touch passes on those touchdown passes, but did not play well in the first half, and he took advantage of a short field. I think the Ravens had three touchdown drives in the second half, were like 5 yards, 4 yards, 6 yards. Well, that's what you want, and you take advantage of the turnovers. But can you sustain that? Can you play that way? I think one of the questions I came out with watching them play the Browns was, in the past, the Ravens have always played down or up to the level of their opponent. And they did that in the first half against the Browns, but then came out and smoked them in the second. So you're still thinking, well, where are they? Have they got to the point where they're that good or they're that bad? We don't know. But, hey, more questions to be answered Monday night.
Yeah, indeed. And you mentioned the running game was not at full force, especially with Derrick Henry. 24 yards, which was a Raven low for him in his 2 years here. He wasn't targeted in the passing game. He was bottled up. It looks like the Browns were intent on stopping him. But any concern over the fact that he fumbled again, did recover it? That's 2 in as many games for a guy that usually never fumbles.
Yeah, that is a concern. And I think basically you go back to fundamentals when that happens. You know, like, do you have 2 hands on the ball? Is it secure? Is it too high, too low? Those are the things you have to go back over and look. And he'll do that because that's the type of player he is. He's a smart guy. He's not just some dumb football player. He's a very smart guy. And he'll make the adjustments and he'll do it well. But it happens. It's the nature of the position. You're going to fumble a couple of times, but overall, the least of my concerns is Derrick Henry in this offense.
Indeed. How about the wide receiver core? I mean, this is a position that has plagued the Ravens for 30 years now. I mean, I can't recall a Ravens wide receiver core with this many reliable pass options, Mike.
Yeah, you got Bateman on the outside, and Bateman's a very good route runner, and they got a good combination. They got Bateman on the outside, he's a good route runner. They got DeAndre Hopkins, who's missed a touchdown. And that's fascinating what they're doing with him. They're not overusing him because it's going to come down to late in the season and what kind of shape he's in. And, you know, he's not a number 1 guy. And actually, he's like number 4, number 5, but he comes in and he makes these great catches. You got Zay Flowers, who's the fast guy, who's great with the yak after the catch. It's probably the best receiving group that I've seen here ever. I mean, because before they always struck out. And then you got guys on the bench like Walker comes in, contributed 2 touchdowns. Wallace comes in, he gets 1. It's deep. And you know what? I found out what's amazing about this team is Harbaugh's playing all of these players. I mean, he's getting everybody into the regular rotation. That's incredible, but it's great for the end of the season when, you know, you get injuries and start getting beat up a little bit. All right, can we still produce quality players and get them in because they've already had quality time? They have done that, and so far it's worked very well for them.
Indeed, incredible depth of wide receiver. And I don't know who called DeAndre Hopkins washed, but I saw the Ravens put that up on their website as, you know, to try and motivate and all that. I don't feel like he's washed at all.
Nobody ever called him washed. If you watched him play with Kansas City last year, you didn't know he was washed. You didn't think he was washed. You know, guys get to the end of their career, and I don't think he's ever won a title, right? He's never won a Super Bowl. You pick and choose the teams you want to go to because you're near the end. You want a ring. And this guy comes out and goes, my best chance is probably with the Ravens, where I can come in and be a part-time, but a full-time guy if needed. But I got a shot at a ring. And he does. And that's what it's all about. And when you get to the end of your career, that's what you look at, nothing else, because you already made the money. Now you just got to go and get the ring.
Yeah, and that's exactly why he chose Baltimore. All right, let's move along to the defense. They only sacked statue Joe Flacco 2 times, but they were in his face all afternoon. 9 quarterback hits, including the defensive play of the game for me, Roquan Smith, and that 63-yard scoop and score after Tavius Robinson's sack. How about the job the defense did against a Browns team that isn't known for their offense?
Well, you know, here's what goes on with the Browns. Their defense plays so well for 3 quarters, and then by the 4th, they're like, we're not going to score, so we'll quit and give up. And basically, that's what happens with the Browns. And Jerry, that hasn't been going on for Oh, this has been going on for a decade, where they
Indeed.
just don't have those numbers up front where they can score and produce points. So they do a great job defensively, and offensively they struggle. I mean, Jerry Jeudy on the outside talked all of that smack before the game, all of that lip service, and then when it came time to play, he drops one, can't catch. And Joko is the only guy they have, the tight end, who could actually play and be a weapon. But their offensive tackles, terrible. And they were down to their second team guys, both tackles. They weren't very good, and Flacco paid the price. He was hurried 9 times, and he can't get around the corner. He's not outrunning anyone around the corner anymore. It happens. Just older, and he's kind of lost his speed. And the best part was watching the interception, and he tries to run and chase down. What's his name? And I'm like, Joe, not happening.
Yeah.
You don't have that anymore. But it's all part of being a 40-year-old quarterback playing for a bad football team.
Back to Roquan. He was quiet all last week before this game, but he obviously was motivated. I don't know if he's had a better game as a Raven. 15 total tackles, 3 for a loss. Obviously felt embarrassed after that Buffalo game.
Well, he didn't need to feel embarrassed. I mean, I thought he played reasonably well. He was solid. Got isolated on in pass coverages, but that's going to happen. And it will happen again. It will happen again. But someone sent me a clip last night of him and talking to old 52 on the sideline before.
Oh, yeah. The pep talk.
That's interesting. And the way he played, he was on fire. I mean, the way he was just running through the line of scrimmage and making tackles. I mean, what did he have? A couple, like 3 or 4 tackles for losses?
3.
Yeah, that's a good day. And the Ravens linebackers did a nice job of keeping everything in front of him. And he was part of that. And he played extremely well. And was he on fire? I don't know. But hey, if 52 wants to go get in your ear a little bit more, I'd bring him out there again.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because Roquan traditionally, because Lamar doesn't seem to want to do it or anyone else, he gives that pregame speech where it looks like half the team is listening. The other half is waiting for the speech to end, much like when Ray Lewis was giving the speech. But now it's Uncle Rose's turn.
Well, you know how that goes. I mean, you hear it so much. Like, how many times can you hear that speech? I mean, I can do Ray Lewis's speech. Where would you rather be than right here, right now? All right. We've heard that before. So the veterans, they all go to the back of the line. And our guest, Jonathan Ogden, he always used to go to the back, and we used to laugh and say, look at J.O. He has no interest in listening to this again. But the newer guys, the young guys, they fall for it. They love it. It's a great stuff. But the veterans, we don't want to hear this anymore. Give me something new. Give me something.
Yeah, it's always funny to watch the body language of the veterans when that's transpiring. All right, the secondary, they had some shaky moments. Marlon Humphrey, Mr. Mature, missing out on an interception, another wacky TD against the Ravens secondary, but they didn't give up really any explosive plays. So overall, I thought they fared very well, albeit against, Joe Flacco, and they didn't need Jair Alexander. How about the decision to deactivate him?
Should never been activated the week before against Buffalo. Man, if you don't practice, you don't play. That's a Harbaugh rule. He broke it for that game, and he allowed him to come out there and play. That should have never happened because, again, just because you practice and you're on a bike and you're on the treadmill, you're not ready for game shape, and you're not in game shape. And he should have never been out on the field. So they go out and they play Tampa, who actually played pretty well in that game at corner, and actually played well the week before. He should have been in the game anyway. And Alexander, maybe he'll come along. I don't know. I really don't know. But, hey, if you miss 2.5 weeks of practice, you're not ready to play. But everything was kept in front of him. They did a nice job. And watch the kid starts. I keep watching him play. Had 7 tackles in that game. Nothing gets behind him. I think he's going to be a really good player. And combined with Kyle Hamilton, I think they're set for pretty much of a good time at safety.
Now, when it comes to special teams, we saw a block punt, free agent linebacker extraordinaire Jake Hummel. He just burst through the middle like a man possessed and blocked that punt. That was the first block punt by the Ravens since 2016 and the great Chris Moore. I can't believe it's been that long.
Well, here's the thing, Jerry. When you play special teams, it's always you take care of the inside and make everybody go to the outside. That and for a guy to come straight up the middle and block it, that's on the coaching staff. That's on those offensive linemen up front, because that should never happen. Or maybe they have linebackers up there. That should never happen. You can't do that. Everybody has to get pushed to the outside. But we're talking about the Browns. We're talking about a coach that, keep an eye on his situation. He might get fired at the end of the year, and we may not even make it through the year, because I think they've kind of had enough of what's going on there.
Interesting. Well, that block punt set up that two-play TD drive, Lamar to Tylan Wallace. Also slightly injured their punter in the course of the game. But I wanted to ask you about Tyler Loop and the kickoffs. That can't happen with the ball going out of bounds. They chalk it up to him being a rookie and just getting acclimated to the NFL. And I know the kickoff rules have changed somewhat, Mike.
Just kick the damn ball. All right. Well, they're tired of hearing this. He's a rookie. Kick the damn ball. All right. You know where it's going. You have a design on this. You play quality teams in the postseason. You got Joe Burrow at quarterback. You got Josh Allen at quarterback. Those are the guys you're going to be playing against. Patrick Mahomes. You give them the ball at the 40, you're probably going to lose. And they did it twice against the Browns, because the Browns are the Browns, or as I call them, the Clowns. But that can't happen. And you do that repeatedly, and then you get in the postseason, you're going to pay for those. And they have to adjust that. And it happened the week before against Buffalo. No. That's a give me. That's almost like giving you 6 points or at least 3 points for a field goal. Can't happen.
Yeah, especially with the way kickers are going right now. It seems like 50-yard field goals are just routine. Now it's 60, 65.
Yeah, and if you go indoors, it might be even longer, because the weather is no longer a factor. So you got to watch that. He knows better. I'm pretty sure they've been telling him, hey, dude, get the ball back there and make him run it back.
All right, the last thing I wanted to mention regarding the Cleveland game, and you already brought up Jerry Jeudy, apparently wasn't a fan of the Ravens, wasn't a fan of the fact that the Ravens were celebrating their 30-year anniversary. As he came out of the tunnel, he pulled the old Brian Cox. It's a family podcast, folks, but imagine a man holding up two middle fingers to 70,000 people. What did he expect was going to happen? This guy has been a bust since day one. He's the definition of Cleveland class.
Well, you know, they did a lot of talking this week, and I don't know why. Usually in 2000, when the Ravens did a lot of talking, they were really good. And Shannon Sharp did most of the talking, but he didn't play defense. So he sent the defense out there and he goes, hey, man, I got Ray, I got Goose, I got this guy to back me up. The Browns, who do they have to back them up? They started a rookie at running back. He didn't get it done. They don't have any weapons on the outside. They started two bad offensive tackles. Why are you going to talk? You know, sometimes you just walk into the den and be quiet and don't wake the giant up. And the more they yapped, especially in the second half, where the Ravens said, okay, let's just go beat them. That's what happens. Just be quiet. Shh.
It's an amazing amount. You're right. It's an amazing amount of lack of self-awareness by the Browns and their fan base. But I mean, what are you standing behind?
Well, as I said, when they were complaining about how dare they celebrate 30 years of our franchise moving here, go win your own games. Go win your own Super Bowls. You haven't done much. What, you had 2-3 winning seasons since they returned to the league in 1999. That's on you. All right. You just happen to play the first home game of the 2025 season. I don't think Ozzie Newsome was very comfortable being the guy they honored, and he walks out with J.O. and Ray. But it's a celebration. It's 30 years. They've won 2 Super Bowls. There's 14 teams that have never won a Super Bowl. Hey, Browns, take a back seat, take a powder, be quiet, and say nothing.
Yeah, and that back seat will be in the back of the clown car, as you said.
More of the Bmore Football Podcast right after this.
At Rice Law, we've won millions for our injury clients, taken on the biggest insurance companies, and fought in the toughest courtrooms, and made it clear, strong lawyers win strong cases. But none of that matters today. The only case that matters is yours, your fight, your future. And we're ready to go to battle for you. We don't rest on past victories. We fight every case like it's our only one. Because at Rice Law, the most important victory is the one we win for you.
Rice Law. Best advice, call Rice.
Shop Maryland's largest adult use and medical cannabis menu located at 1114 Cathedral Street in Baltimore, with medical delivery available throughout Maryland 7 days a week, only at Relief Shop.
For the last 25 years, Wood Home Insurance has been Baltimore's premier independent home, auto, and business insurance broker, representing over 30 carriers. For example, need an auto quote? Wood Home shops them all. Geico, Progressive, Travelers, AAA, Safeco, and Selective, and sends you back the best rates possible. I have personally been a client for over 2 decades, and they are world-class in service. Wood Home's owner, Rich Gottlieb, is happy to schedule a Zoom appointment with you at your convenience. Oh, and Rich is a longtime Ravens season ticket holder, so when at the game, let him know where you're tailgating. He'll drop by and say hello. So for all your needs, it's Wood Home Insurance, 410-580-2800 or woodhomeinsurance.com.
Meet the newest member of the Jack Daniels family, Jack Daniels Tennessee Blackberry. Jack Daniels takes pride in Old Number 7 being the backbone of all our flavors, and Jack Daniels Blackberry is no exception. A combination of our proprietary black liqueur and Jack Daniels' unique and unmistakable character, Jack Blackberry is a highly versatile juxtaposition of flavor. Delightfully sweet, bold, vibrant, and refreshing, Jack Blackberry is easily enjoyed with your favorite mixer, in a cocktail, or while enjoying your next football game. Jack Daniels Tennessee Blackberry is here, and as always, Jack Daniels reminds you to drink responsibly. When it comes to financial planning, most of us need help. The team at the Jim Kelly Financial Group has been offering sage advice for Marylanders for more than 30 years, like the Baltimore Sun's Mike Preston. But Jim Kelly offers value beyond sound investment management through tax-efficient strategies, behavioral coaching during market downturns, guidance on major life decisions, from career changes to elder care planning, as well as life insurance. This is where experienced financial advisors like Jim Kelly and the professional money management he provides can make all the difference. Call today and see if the Jim Kelly Financial Group can help you and your family at 410-486-5575. That's 410-486-5575. Effective Solutions, your one-stop shop for commercial contracting. Everything from excavation and site development to emergency remediation and restoration. Effective Solutions specializes in many forms of commercial and mixed-use construction. With a dedicated staff and a commitment to quality, Effective Solutions delivers every time.
All right, moving on. We're not going to have guests every week on this podcast, but when we do have a guest, it's going to be a special one. And our first ever guest, it's kind of appropriate, is the first ever Raven, the first ever draft pick of the Ravens. It's Jonathan Ogden, the Hall of Famer, joining us from an undisclosed location. JO, great to have you on the podcast. Want to know what it was like to be back out there on the field, flanked by Ozzie, or you were flanking him, you and Ray, and the reception that he got with Cleveland back in town.
It was a lot of fun, man. First of all, thanks for having me. It's really cool to be. I haven't seen you guys in a long time. I've known you guys 30 years now, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean, it was like, wow, I've been in this town 30 years and we've been doing this, and look how far we've come. I mean, it was kind of, we got 2 Super Bowl trophies. You got 3 of the 4 guys with gold jackets, well, actually you got Rob Woodson there too and Shannon, but I mean, it was just the history of this organization has done a lot in 30 years, you know what I'm saying? So it was really cool. And the best part about being on that field pregame is knowing that I don't have to go play the game because my body would be so beat up. I went out there and tried to hit somebody. I'd be like, oh, I'd fall apart so fast. But no, it's fun to see those guys, though, see the intensity in the tunnel. Being in the tunnel again and watching the guys, the pregame intros, it was really cool just seeing that and feeling that intensity again.
So, Jay, do you have any flashbacks? Like, man, I want to try this again.
No. We've given this up. I mean, people ask me when I retired, like, did I ever have any regrets or any, like, did I want to come back? I said no. man, I did everything I could on the football field. Super Bowl, Pro Bowls, Hall of Fame, I was good. So, I mean, it's leaving for the young. The only thing I regret is not playing in this day and age, getting those paychecks they get nowadays. But I can't complain because I got good paychecks myself. But, I mean, I like going to the Hall of Fame, talking like what would we make if we played in this day and age game with the guys. So it's kind of fun.
Right.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Joe Burrow and this turf toe situation, which effectively ended here. I mean, nobody has a bigger authority on turf toe than Jonathan Ogden.
Yeah, man. When I heard turf toe, then I heard it's the serious one. They said 3 months. That is a minimum of 3 months. And I would recommend, honestly, if I was the Bengals, just shut him down for the year because mine never quite healed up right. I probably was thinking about it after, going over this Burrow thing. I wish I had just had the surgery and just shut it down instead of trying to fight through it. Because maybe to this day, my foot still bothers me. And that's, 18 years later, so he needs to make sure that he goes through the recovery process, take all the time he needs to get that thing right. Because, I mean, it's unfortunate for that guy. They don't protect him well. They don't get the lines right for him. They get him a shotgun too much. They just don't do the things they need to do to keep him upright. But he's also a little injury prone. So it's just a bad situation for them. But, wish him luck in the recovery.
So I got a question for you, man. What is the key to the Ravens running game, their success?
Well, I don't know. We talked about this when we were talking to you the last time I talked to you. I don't really know exactly what it is. There's a lot of misdirection. What Monken has done a good job of, and it's hard because I don't really sit there and watch the film. Like, it's really hard to figure stuff out if you're not watching the film. But there's a lot of misdirection where the guard's pulling one way, then the tight end's going the other way. Lamar's doing the fake handoff. Right. The defense is kind of put into a position where it's hard for them to be right sometimes. And then it's like, do you stop Derrick Henry? Do you stop Lamar Jackson? And I think Cleveland, though, they did a good job, though, on Sunday of kind of figuring us out a little bit. But, I mean, at the end of the day, though, if you commit to stopping the run like they did, you're still going to give up 4 touchdown passes. It's hard to stop the totality of the offense when you got a quarterback who can throw and run, and it's just difficult.
So what did Cleveland do that made them so successful?
It just seemed like they had the numbers right, and they just they sold out. Sold out. They were like, we are not going to let Derrick Henry beat us. And you can do that. I mean, you can sell out, and I don't think we really committed to I remember when we had Jamal Lewis, people would sell out against us. We'd go 1 yard, 2 yards, 40 yards. I mean, because you finally break that one when you got past the line. Right. We didn't have that opportunity last week. But again, we didn't have Lamar Jackson to be able to dice him up on the outside. So we had Kyle Bowler, so it was a little different the way we had to continue to pound them. Whereas this team can just do multiple different things. So I think the best thing about our offense now is we can take whatever the defense gives us and we can really hurt them with whatever that is, whether it be the short pass, the screen game, whatever it is, we can hurt them. So that's why we're going to probably continue to lead the league in scoring again, just no matter what we do.
Right. So when I watch this offensive line play, I don't think they're very good at pass blocking. I think they're okay, but the key is to get that running game going. And the play action passing game. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, Pelele's getting better, but he's not the best pass blocker. I mean, look, and anybody's going to look tough against Myles Garrett. It's going to be a long day for a lot of guys against that guy, So, and on the road at Buffalo, but at the end of the day, you're right. I mean, play action passing is what makes it easier to do the pass blocking for you. The fewer 3rd and longs you're facing when you're in shotgun, the better job you're going to do blocking. So, again, like you said, though, it comes down to being able to run the ball, because if you can run it, then they really have no idea what to do to stop you.
Right. Hey, so now and I got this question. Compare Derrick Henry and Jamal Lewis and their running styles and what distinguishes either one of them from the other one, because they're both big backs.
They're both big backs. I mean, I guess even crazy. Derrick Henry's probably even bigger than Jamal, which is kind of crazy because Jamal is, about 230. Derrick Henry's about 250. I don't know who's faster though. I mean, J. Lou ran that 4-3-4 coming out. I mean, they're very similar. I mean, they really are. I mean, I think Derrick Henry, I mean, he's a freak in the longevity of his career, and, his workouts are insane, and the way he's more the player today, and he's taking care of himself to be able to play this well, this long into his career. But outside of that, when you put their prime career, prime years against each other, there's not a big difference between those two. It really isn't.
Right.
Yeah, let me slide one in here, Mike, because I did want to ask him about offensive linemen today compared to where and the era he played in. It seems like they're bigger and stronger, perhaps, but the technique isn't as proficient maybe as it was back in your day, J.O. Is that the way you view it?
I don't know. I feel like I kind of played in the golden era of linemen personally, and maybe that's just my bias. With me, Orlando Pace, Willie Roaf, Larry Allen, those
group.
guys. We had some good Walter Jones. We had some really good linemen in my day. The guys today, I mean, they're athletic and they're big, but they weren't coached up very well earlier in college. I guess it's getting better now. But all the shotgun, they just don't really know how to come off the ball. Like, we were just kind of, two people, we'd run, stay low. It was just different the way we were coached up, I guess. The game was a little different, a little more physical. But I don't want to take anything from these kids because, guys like Tunsil and Trent Williams. Well, Trent Williams is kind of old. But there's some good players out there now. There's some good tackles.
All right, J.O., so I got one last question to ask you, man.
Mm-hmm.
Since you've been watching this team as long as I have been, is this the best roster they've ever had?
I mean, probably. I mean, if you want to go like what you think each player ranks as far as at their position in the NFL, I mean, this is probably the best receiving core. I mean, hell, he never had come on. I loved our receivers, but not like this. The best quarterback. It's a super talented group of guys. I really do wish we had a pass rusher, though. I mean, that could rear its head somewhere because we have to blitz to get pressure. I mean, what's going on out there. Ain't nobody out there. Maybe Mike Green can develop, maybe he can learn, but it seems like they don't trust him out there just yet.
Right.
Because he's the only guy who really can win one-on-one. I mean, always struggling, and Robinson, so if we can get around that hurdle though, we'll be okay though.
Right. All right, man.
Well, hold on. I still got one.
Oh, go for it, Jerry. I got you.
I mean, I don't have any great stories except I was able to cover you at the Hall of Fame. There was a slight difference in height there, but you got to have a golden Mike Preston story or two from back in the day when he was covering you and sizing and all that.
No, I mean, except for when Zeus almost attacked Mike. I mean, outside of that.
Please explain. I forgot that story.
Man, I was like, whoa, big fella. Art Modell had to come out. I don't know what Mike wrote the paper that day, but Zeus was hot, man. Goodness gracious, man. Mike stayed up on the side like, Mike ain't taking that heat.
You remember that. You were the one you kept telling him, like, Zeus, no, don't go over there, man. Don't go over there. And I'm like, dude, I can't run. If I run, I'm dead.
Yeah, some things stick with you. Now, the other thing was we saw Roquan giving that pregame speech. We know that Ray Lewis used to do it back in the day. We know you were kind of indifferent like a lot of players. You hear those speeches all the time, and we still see it going on. Do you get amused at watching some of the veteran players when these guys are trying to rally the troops right before kickoff when it's probably the same speech you've heard a half dozen times during the week, J.O.?
Nah, because I always look at it like this. If it just gets one or two players just to get a little more something, a little more focused, just to hone in a little more, then it's worth it. For me, you could just be like, J.O., let's go. Yeah, let's go. But it's 53 or 40, whatever, who are dressed. And if you can just get one, then it's worth it. But there was something to be said about his rah-rah. I mean, it definitely inspired a lot of those guys in that defense. They didn't want to let him down. So I was like, hey, whatever works, baby, whatever works.
So how long did it take you, J.O., to say, nah, I've heard this before?
Oh, man, I mean, that's just my personality, man. Within the first couple of times. But, I mean, that's just me. It didn't matter who was there. If it was Ray or Kirk Farrell or whoever, it didn't matter. I'm like, I got a job to do. I'm going to go out there and whoop this dude's ass, and then we'll pick him up and talk after the game.
Right.
All right. Last thing I have for you. Grateful for your candor. But when you hear the term Super Bowl or bust, that's been placed on the Ravens once again. I don't know whether they embrace that, use that as motivation. What do you think of when you hear that term?
I think it's basically saying that you're one of the top teams in the NFL every year. Kansas City, Buffalo. So it's kind of like it's a good sign. It's a sign of respect. It means that you are expected to compete and be a team that makes it to the Super Bowl. But again, I expect us. People ask me this all the time. How do you think we're going to do this year? How are we going to do? I say, look, we're probably going to win somewhere between 11 and 15 games, depending on how it goes. We'll get to the playoffs, but we'll see what happens. I mean, we got to find a way to get over that playoff hump. Lamar played well last year, but in circumstances, we know what happened. And we just got to get the ball to bounce the right way for us. And, but a Super Bowl or bust is kind of I take that with a grain of salt, because only one team's going to win the Super Bowl. Only two are going out of 32. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Right.
Yep. Well, listen, it was a privilege to cover your Hall of Fame career. We got to cover it all, including that induction into Canton. Thanks for coming on and joining us.
Oh, no, thanks, guys. Love you guys, man. You guys are awesome. And like I said, 30 years, man, that's a long-ass time.
All right. Great seeing you in Baltimore. Look forward to having you back again soon.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, man. See you, buddy.
More of the Bmore Football Podcast right after this.
We hope you never need us, but if you're ever injured in an accident, we'll handle everything with trusted guidance and personal attention so you can focus on what matters most, your recovery. Rice Law. Best advice, call Rice.
RiceLawMD.com.
Shop Maryland's largest adult use and medical cannabis menu located at 1114 Cathedral Street in Baltimore, with medical delivery available throughout Maryland 7 days a week, only at Relief Shop.
For the last 25 years, Wood Home Insurance has been Baltimore's premier independent home, auto, and business insurance broker, representing over 30 carriers. For example, need an auto quote? Wood Home shops them all. Geico, Progressive, Travelers, AAA, Safeco, and Selective, and sends you back the best rates possible. I have personally been a client for over 2 decades, and they are world-class in service. Wood Home's owner, Rich Gottlieb, is happy to schedule a Zoom appointment with you at your convenience. Oh, and Rich is a longtime Ravens season ticket holder, so when at the game, let him know where you're tailgating. He'll drop by and say hello. So for all your needs, it's Wood Home Insurance, 410-580-2800 or woodhomeinsurance.com.
Meet the newest member of the Jack Daniels family, Jack Daniels Tennessee Blackberry. Jack Daniels takes pride in Old Number 7 being the backbone of all our flavors, and Jack Daniels Blackberry is no exception. A combination of our proprietary black liqueur and Jack Daniels' unique and unmistakable character, Jack Blackberry is a highly versatile juxtaposition of flavor. Delightfully sweet, bold, vibrant, and refreshing, Jack Blackberry is easily enjoyed with your favorite mixer, in a cocktail, or while enjoying your next football game. Jack Daniels Tennessee Blackberry is here, and as always, Jack Daniels reminds you to drink responsibly. When it comes to financial planning, most of us need help. The team at the Jim Kelly Financial Group has been offering sage advice for Marylanders for more than 30 years, like the Baltimore Sun's Mike Preston. But Jim Kelly offers value beyond sound investment management through tax-efficient strategies, behavioral coaching during market downturns, guidance on major life decisions, from career changes to elder care planning, as well as life insurance. This is where experienced financial advisors like Jim Kelly and the professional money management he provides can make all the difference. Call today and see if the Jim Kelly Financial Group can help you and your family at 410-486-5575. That's 410-486-5575. Effective Solutions, your one-stop shop for commercial contracting. Everything from excavation and site development to emergency remediation and restoration. Effective Solutions specializes in many forms of commercial and mixed-use construction. With a dedicated staff and a commitment to quality, Effective Solutions delivers every time.
All right, Mike, let's move on to Baltimore and Beyond, presented by Relief Shop. Relief Shop, Baltimore's best adult use and medical cannabis dispensary with 700 plus unique menu items and home delivery available always for medical patients, courtesy of Relief Shop. They're located right there on Cathedral Street. All right, quickly, let's go around the AFC North. And the Bengals won a football game, but they lost a quarterback in Joe Burrow, as we just talked about with our guest, J.O. And this is going to be at least 3 months, Mike. And again, I'm not great at math, but I did look at the calendar, and it seems like when the Ravens host the Bengals on Thanksgiving night, Joe Burrow will probably not be the starting quarterback.
Turf toe is very painful. I mean, and That's what helped J.O. retire, was he had the turf toe and he couldn't push off. It happens. It's very painful, and especially for a quarterback. You got to drop back. You got to plant your foot. You got to throw off that, and it's tough. 3 months, probably next year. That's what you're looking at. I mean, and I keep hearing all these guys saying, "Oh, he might come back. He could do this. He could do that." You probably just want to rest it. They're done. The Bengals are done. I don't see who they could bring in as a quarterback to get that offense going again. I mean, and they already have their defense is a liability. They can't play a lick of defense. No. Now, how are they going to score? They remind me of the Ravens when they first moved here. They'd have to win games like 42-41, 43-42. They can't do that anymore. They're finished. It's over. It's over.
It would be the same situation if the Ravens were to lose Lamar, probably, right?
Yeah, but at least they have a serviceable backup.
Yeah.
And he might get them to at least 500. But overall, you can't replace a guy like that. It's impossible. There's only like 5 or 6 quarterbacks in this league that are on that level, and one of them does play here in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. But the rest of them, when you get to the postseason, your quarterback has to step up. Your quarterback has to play extremely well, and they don't have the guy. They don't have the backup.
And the thing about Joe is he got that cheap owner, Mike Brown, to pay Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and now he can't throw to him.
Well, the best thing is maybe they can go play quarterback because that's what they're going to need.
All right, on to Pittsburgh. They did not lose their quarterback, just a game in which they made some boneheaded mistakes, and their defense looks far from unstoppable before we get to old man Aaron Rodgers. The Pittsburgh defense is not the steel curtain.
Well, that's disturbing because the legacy in Pittsburgh was built on great defense and being able to stop the run. They can't stop the run anymore. Everybody just keeps running through them. It's bizarre. And it has to be driving Mike Tomlin nuts because he's a defensive guy. And looking at that thing and saying, well, what are we going to do to correct this? It's not about scheme, Mike. It's about your players. You got to go find them. And they don't have them. They just don't have them.
Yeah, they beat up on the Jets in week 1, and we saw a very arrogant Aaron Rodgers. Not as arrogant after that week 2 defeat.
Hey, let me tell you something. For him to win a game, he's happy. To go back home and beat the Jets, he probably was ecstatic about that. I understand, but remember, they are the Jets. They were the Jets. They will remain the Jets. Okay, so let's not get too high off of that.
No, never. All right, I want to go back to the Cleveland Browns for a moment. What did you make of the story that suddenly broke right before kickoff, just before 1 o'clock on Sunday? Adam Shifty Schefter put it out. I don't know where he would get this information, that the Ravens were interested in drafting Shedeur Sanders, but he didn't want to come here. You know, Eric DeCosta isn't available, so I put that question to the head coach Monday.
Coach, right before the game yesterday, I don't know if you heard this report comes out that Shedeur Sanders said he didn't want to go to the Ravens because he didn't want to have to back up Lamar Jackson. Did you guys have any legitimate interest in him, or
You're asking me?
We can't ask Eric, so.
Oh, that's a good way to frame it. But so you think that I'm going to answer draft process questions? Yeah, I was in the room. But we have a policy here that we don't talk about the draft room decision-making process. So I'm not going to be able to answer that for you. As much as I may like to or may not want to, I'm not going to be able to answer that for you.
Okay, I think we can end it.
That was the press conference ender. I think he did want to answer that question, but knew the better part was to just remain silent.
It's a great response by John. I kind of like his face there. Like, he knows, like, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to bullcrap you, but I'm not going to tell you. They probably did have some interest. But if I'm Sanders and I'm a 5th round guy, and he's fallen to the 5th round, whoever takes you, get your butt there and play. Maybe you can go in the room and you learn some things. All right. And you go to a winning team. So that's something you experienced very little of in Colorado, even though they weren't all of that. And now where are you? You're in Cleveland. All right.
Where he's not even second string, he's third or fourth.
Right. And he was basically a healthy scratch the other day. Go where you're wanted. That's what I always tell people. Go where you're wanted. If you're wanted in Baltimore, go here, learn something. And maybe they put him on developmental for a year. But hey, you're playing behind one of the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. That's an honor. That's pretty good. But to say, I don't want to go there because I don't want to sit behind, son, you got a lot in life to learn, and you're going to have to learn it quickly because, oh boy.
Someone should have tapped him on the shoulder, Mike, and said, you would never be backing up Lamar. You would at best be third string.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but he should have figured that out. All you got to do is look and see what he signed during the offseason. All right. I know I'm not going to be the guy, but I can be number 3. I can go with developmental. I can learn. I can be in the room. All right. I can learn from Todd Monken, offensive coordinator. You know, I can learn from those guys. And DeAndre Hopkins, you know what I mean? There's so much you can pick up and learn. What are you learning in Cleveland? From Jerry Jeudy.
Joe Flacco wants nothing to do with them.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought the whole thing was bizarre. And why did they leak it now? I don't have the slightest idea, but I guess it was to embarrass the Browns. I think you're right.
Yeah. Well, and then they went out and played a game and embarrassed themselves. All right, let's get to Mike Preston's report card. As always, let's begin with the quarterback, Lamar Jackson, who, as we mentioned earlier in the podcast, really came alive in the second half. How did that make his grade look in the end?
Oh, I ended up giving him a C+. And, you know, I got a lot of people giving me static for that, but I know what I saw in the first half. He wasn't very good in the first half. Their offense wasn't very good in the first half. But in the second half, nice touches on those touchdown passes. So I gave him a C+. And if they don't like it, too bad. Fans, I don't care.
Yeah, there's always next week. Get over yourself. All right, the running backs had a very quiet day, as we mentioned. Professor, what grade did you give to them?
Oh, man, I gave that group a D.
Ooh.
They didn't contribute very much. You know, 11 carries, 23 yards for Derrick Henry. For Derrick Henry, he's the best running back or one of the 2 best running backs in the NFL, and he gets 23 yards. Nah, that's a step down. And then we'll go further. The offensive line.
Yeah.
You know, I gave them a C because there weren't any holes there. It's the same thing with Roquan Smith, his middle linebacker. If your defensive linemen take care of their guys up front, he's free to make tackles. It's the same thing with the offensive line. If they create holes, he has room to run. There weren't any holes. So they got to see their pass blocking was not very good, but this team is a team that's predicated on running the football. If you can't run the football, they're not good pass blockers, and it showed.
All right, one thing I want to go back to regarding the O-line and Lamar. Do you see at times Lamar holding on to the football a little too long?
Yeah, but the good thing about that is he now has receivers who can catch the ball. If you go back and watch Flowers does an excellent job of coming back to the ball. They know that if he gets in trouble, he can run around a little bit. He's going to make things happen. He'll pass the ball. And you saw that a couple of times in Sunday's game. Bateman gives you that speed on the outside, but he's a great route runner. You got a little bit of everything over there. So is he slower? Maybe. Been 8 years in the league, but I don't have a problem with what I see. He's throwing well.
And no problem with the receiver core. I don't see how they didn't fare as well as any position group that was on the field Sunday.
Yeah, I gave them an A. I mean, that was done.
Yeah.
You know, I'm excited about the young guys, though. Wallace, Walker. I mean, Wallace 4th year, 5th year, Walker 2nd year. And I said, keep an eye on this guy's training camp started that he did well in OTAs. He's carried through, and he's going to be a big-time player down the stretch.
Look forward to that. All right. How about the grade for the defensive line, Mike? What did you assign to them?
Defensive line, I thought Matabike played very well. I think he's having a very good season. Tavius Robinson. Now, I don't know what they want to say if he's an outside linebacker or he's a defensive end. He can play both because he's big enough to do both. But to run down Joe, punch the ball out, cause a fumble, which Roquan picks up and turns it into a touchdown, that's pretty impressive stuff. And what you see with this team is they're now trying to get turnovers, which they didn't get last year. They're actually trying to force them. Now, you always saw Marlon Humphrey do that, but now the rest of them have caught on. So, but I gave them a B. Linebackers, Roquan was the man.
Yep. He wasn't alone, though.
Yeah. You know what I saw was Teddy Buchanan. They're starting to put him in, get him more and more into the lineup. Keep an eye on that with Trenton Simpson at weak side linebacker. What's going to happen there? That's going to be interesting to watch. But I think Trenton Simpson, if you put him back as a rush guy on the outside, because that's what he does. That's what he did in college at Clemson, was he can get after the quarterback. He's a go-fetch guy. Well, go fetch. Put it back on the corner. Stop goofing around. He's not a cover guy. We already found that out last year. Cannon is more of that type of person. So keep an eye on that situation. But I thought their linebackers played very well. Everything in front of them, I gave them an A. Secondary.
Yeah.
Extremely well. I mean, all of those guys played very well. Nate Wiggins had the pick on Joe, where Joe just tried to run down a guy who runs 4.3 and couldn't catch up. That happens.
I think that was the first interception since Michael Pierce last year by the Ravens.
Oh, my goodness.
I think it's been that long.
Michael Pierce. Wait a minute. Michael Pierce, Nate Wiggins. What did they have? Not much.
There's a little bit.
But they played very well, kept everything in front of them. But it changes this week, all right, because the Browns, they didn't have anybody. But the Lions coming into town, they got a quarterback. They got some receivers. They got a running game. Well, we'll see what happens more this week. But you got to get out there and you got to play, which is what they did. They didn't do it in preseason. You got one or two new guys on in the secondary. Let's see what happens this week. But they get an A. Special teams, Loop hit on 2 field goals. I thought their coverage units were pretty sound. Their return guys are good. The one guy, Wester, is that his name? The rookie?
Yeah.
He almost broke that one. I think he got 23 yards on a punt return.
He did.
And the guy made a shoestring tackle. He's gone.
He was.
He's done. That's a touchdown. They did a nice job. But, again, you can't give the other team the ball at the 40-yard line. Not good quarterbacks. So I gave them an A-. Coaching, I gave a B. I thought their defense was extremely sound. The best thing I like about the defense was they manufactured hurries and sacks. Instead of sitting back like they did in the Buffalo game and they tried to win one-on-one matchups, they didn't get it done. They didn't win them. And then all of a sudden, they're changing up. They're doing a lot of pressures. They're doing some blitzing. That's what you got to do. And that's what this team has to do because they don't have that dynamic pass rusher, and they haven't had him since Suggs left here. But overall, B, the offense stunk it up for a half, and I'm pretty sure Coach Monken will tell you that as well.
I'm sure we'll find that out later in the week, but nobody calling for John Harbaugh's head on Monday this week. It was ludicrous last week. Real quickly, what did you make of Jadeveon Clowney going to the Cowboys? I don't know if the Ravens were in on him or not.
I'm pretty sure they probably made a call, but he's got some age on him. Do you bring him in with the young guys you have? You got Mike Green over there who's a rookie. Do you really want to slow that process? I'm not sure. I think he's going to be a very good pass rusher down the stretch, and maybe not this year because he's a rookie. He's going to get tired by the end of the season, but down the road, I think he's going to be very good. He needs to learn some more moves, man. That one move, speed rush to the outside, doesn't work in the NFL. Better have a counter whenever somebody stops that. But do you want to retard his progress for bringing in Clowney? I don't know. That's interesting, but apparently the Ravens didn't think so either, and he probably was asking for a lot of money because Michael Parsons went to Green Bay.
Yeah.
So he's probably saying, "I'm in demand. I'm going to ask for a lot of money," and I'm pretty sure the Ravens didn't want to pony up.
And he was able to miss all of training camp too, which is part of the long-term plan.
Most veterans do not want to go to training camp.
Part of the plan. All right, next up are the Lions, are one of 5 playoff teams on the Ravens schedule. Thoughts on Detroit, which, like the Ravens, underachieved in last year's playoffs, but they've been underachieving in Detroit for about 50 years now. Seems like they play a lot better at home indoors. They pounded the Bears last week, but now they're coming outside on Monday night. Obviously, they have more weapons than the Browns presented.
Well, they scored 52 points, and you kind of waited for that, like, well, what's going to happen with this team? Are they really that good? Are they that talented? But you got Goff, you got Amon St. Brown, Jameson Williams. You got 2 running backs.
2.
Gibbs and Montgomery. Both of these guys can play. You don't lose much talent when you take one out and replace the other one. And on defense, Reeder, Aiden Hutchinson, their defensive line is pretty good. So the Ravens have to be prepared to play. And that's what you want to see. I understand them playing the Browns because that's who you have to play. But to get ready, to get focused, you need to play this kind of team because they went through the playoffs last year. And regardless of what you say, they're a quality football team. And then we'll make some more determinations. Right now, the analysis is on the Ravens. They've been up, they've been down. But where are they? What do we really know? We don't know a thing. All right? We don't know. And we'll find out, though, because this is a quality team. And as you stated, they usually win at home, but they're on the road. It's here. Let's see what they got, and then we'll make a determinations from that.
It will all go down in prime time. All right. Well, thanks to senior executive producer Chip Franklin for putting this latest episode together. We are back next week after Monday Night Football, the morning after. Until then, be kind, be real, and make sure to be back next week for the latest edition of the Bmore Football Podcast, presented by Rice Law and the Baltimore Sun.
The Bmore Football Podcast is brought to you by Rice Law.